Welcome back to the CAP Podcast, Consumer Ammunition Tactics Podcast. Hopefully, y'all blessed, amazing, great, the whole nine. Before we get into the topic of discussion, hopefully, y'all that listen to the audio, you can hear it clearly. Just update number one. We're doing something different. So, those of y'all that's watching it on YouTube, you can see we're on video. Usually, when we are on video, it's basically because we have a interview. But obviously, I'm solo. It's a solo episode. So we're gonna give y'all that sauce. So those of y'all that are loyal listeners of the audio version of the podcast, you definitely got the option to come to YouTube, watch it on the visual. And my team and I, we just wanted to make sure that just besides the actual interviews, that we're not limiting people that's able to listen to the podcast. So you could play this in the background in your YouTube browser while you at work. You know what I'm saying? While you lifting weights, you know what I'm saying? While you doing whatever, right? So update number one, man, we upgrading, you know what I'm saying, as far as being on video. If y'all like it, let me know. If y'all want me to continue to do it, let me know. The interviews will always be on video, but if y'all just want like the regular sauce so y'all have access to it on YouTube, I feel like that'll make people be able to listen to it more. You know what I'm saying? So that's update number one. Make sure you go follow me on IG if you're not. Mike O. Benjamin, MICHOBENJAMIN. If you want to tap in over there, go ahead and tap in with me. I'll be posting stories here and there and just chopping it up. So you could definitely follow me over there. Those are pretty much the main updates I have for y'all. As you can see in the title, we basically talking about like the real secret on how to pretty much delete any item, because there is like a secret or like a truth. It's not necessarily magic. It doesn't happen necessarily overnight, but I need y'all to realize like no matter what negative item you have on your credit, if you understand your consumer laws, it can in fact be removed. So I just need y'all to really understand that, because I know it'd be a mindset thing. Like a lot of people don't realize, like, okay, consumer laws, I can delete these items, and it's a lot of people online lying about different things. So I can see why it could be confusing and hard to like grasp the concept of the fact that these items can in fact be deleted. But just an update, I literally just had a client reach out to me. I was helping them sue one of the credit bureaus, and they were able to get their settlement outside of court. And I really want to talk about that too, because it was one of those things where we sent a couple rounds, few rounds, and these you got to realize these credit bureaus are very disrespectful. A lot of times they'll straight up ignore you. Sometimes they'll just straight up do stall tactics. They'll say things like, "Oh, this sounds like it's from a third party," and just the usual stall tactics that they tend to do. So it gets to a point that people can get tired, and they make their money off of reporting this negative information. So they're gonna make it hard for you to get the item deleted. They're not gonna make it easy. You got to realize like everything is about money. I know some people might be like, "Oh, everything ain't about money," but everything is about money. So I need y'all to really realize that as well. So it got to a point where the client was like, "Is there anything else we could do, besides sending letters?" And I just know the fact of the matter is you can get stuff resolved through litigation. Every case is different. You definitely have to have a claim where relief could be granted. And I'm just gonna say too, let me just say it now. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to it on wherever you listen to podcasts, everything I'm about to say, nothing is legal advice. This is all for educational purposes. This is all for entertainment purposes, I'll say. This is all for entertainment purposes. So everything I'm saying, it could be characters. It may not be characters, but everything is for entertainment purposes only. So based off of what I say, just use your brain. So you got to understand what a consumer report is. You got to understand what can be excluded from a consumer report. You got to basically go to the congressional findings section. So everything I'm saying now is playing into the fact that you can like really delete anything off of your report. You got to understand it like history and break it down to a science. So when you start in the congressional findings section, you understand that Congress spoke about the fact that there has to be fairness and accuracy. And these credit bureaus, these consumer reporting agencies, they assumed a vital role, right? They assumed a role that they didn't have to assume. They just took it upon themselves, like, oh, we're gonna be the credit bureaus and all that, right? So y'all gotta realize that too. And y'all gotta realize in that congressional findings section, 15 USC 1681A, number 4 in the congressional findings section, it says the fact that you have a right to privacy as a consumer. So you gotta really understand that and really understand what that means. Also in the congressional findings section, it also talks about the reasonable procedures that have to be in place to assure, accuracy as well as fairness and something that's equitable to the consumer. So you got to understand what that means to you. And the main thing I want y'all to take from the episode is just basically the importance of understanding the consumer laws, because the real secret is understanding the consumer laws, right? Understanding the consumer laws and enforcing your rights. So the real secret, the real gag, whatever you want to call it, sometimes you just got to sue them to get the respect that you're going to get. My client, we were sending letter after letter. I've had various clients where we were sending letter after letter. They're ignoring. They're saying verified. We following up 15 USC 1681I number 7, the method of verification. How did you verify? They still on BS. It gets to a point, y'all got to take it upon yourselves or get with an attorney, because this is not legal advice. Get with a consumer lawyer. You can go to consumeradvocates.org, consumeradvocates.org. You can find an attorney near you. Go through that kind of situation, figure out, what you can do. Explain everything you did to the attorney. If you follow my podcast, you should have enough that you've done to where the attorney will be impressed. Like, okay, this person actually is doing what they're doing. They got the green return receipt. They're speaking about these laws. Those of y'all that know about the sandwich method that I created, you're implementing that within your disputes. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So you got to really realize, like, how can I articulate myself to where it makes sense? It starts with the foundation, understanding these consumer laws, understanding the FCRA, understanding the FDCPA violations if you're dealing with the collections and debt validation, right? So yeah, it's not legal advice, but you definitely got to understand all of these stuff. Even if you're not going to be the one that actually sues the credit bureaus, debt collector, whatever, you should have a knowledge about it. And it goes back to the fact that, it is a high income skill. That's why we do have the mentorship where we help y'all become the Gucci of the credit repair industry. Most of these credit repair people they don't know how to even present a claim where relief could be granted. They don't know about the Rule 12B number 6 defense, talking about, people that can use a motion to dismiss, saying that you don't have a claim where relief can be granted. So that's why our mentorship is like the best thing in the world, because it really teaches you how to be a high level credit repair business owner. And yeah, so you want to be able to articulate yourself, understanding what are these violations? How did they violate you? Why is it a violation? What is a violation? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did you do? Do you have evidence? What are the dates, right? What is happening? Do you have your CFPB printouts? Do you have your FTC printouts? Things like that. Understanding these stuff by definition. And then that's how you get a settlement outside of court, like my client just had notified me about. So I just need y'all to really understand these consumer laws. You gotta get to a point to where you could not only just quote it, but actually understand why it leads to what it leads to, right? If we know the congressional findings section says we have a right to privacy, okay, 15 USC 6802, it's not part of the FCRA, but it's aligned with the GLBA. So when I'm cooking up my letter, I would probably make use of that. If I'm looking at late payments, I might be looking, if I don't want to look at the Fair Credit Reporting Act, but you should, I would look at 15 USC 1666B, the timing of payments law. I would look at in the FCRA, the exclusion section, 15 USC 1681A to AI, right? The fact that transactions or experiences are excluded from a consumer report. You can go to the extent with the any authorization or approval, right? 15 USC 1681A to B. So you got to understand these laws. Well, now we got to go to permissible purpose. Did they get your written instructions? Okay, they didn't get your written instructions. Now we have an issue of identity theft, right? Because identity theft, as the FTC defines it, is them using your information without your written consent. So these are things you got to understand. If you don't understand it, get with somebody that understands it or understand it yourself, right? These are things you got to understand if you really want to get any item deleted. The real secret to getting any item deleted is education. Education and investing in yourself. Some of y'all might be like, how does he know all these laws, this, that, and the third? I did the opposite of what poor people do. Poor people tend to just be like, okay, I want to get everything for cheap. I just want to get everything for free. Cheap people is just like, oh, I just want to get everything for cheap. You know, I'm just gonna learn everything on YouTube. You can learn that. You could definitely learn on YouTube. We got over 1,000 videos on my YouTube. You're gonna learn something. You know what I'm saying? But it gets to a point if you really want to get to the next level. Sometimes it's not even about necessarily more information. Sometimes it's just about getting in the different environment, right? And I know that's what our mentorship provides, in addition to, you know, more information that you may not even know about. So yeah, so the way that I've really positioned myself to be able to like delete any item with confidence, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I need y'all to write that down. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Any item can be deleted as long as you know these laws, as long as you understand how to articulate yourself. If you don't know how to articulate yourself, get in the right environment of people that know how to articulate themselves. Get in the CAT credit, retire your 9-to-5 mentorship, right? And remember, nothing I'm saying is legal advice, so I need y'all to remember that as well. But yeah, man, hopefully y'all have been having a great week, a great 2023. You know what I'm saying? Like we closing in on 2024. It's about to be the fourth quarter. So hopefully y'all are really getting to the next level as far as all your goals. Hopefully y'all are actually taking action based off of the information I'm putting out. You're not just watching it for entertainment purposes. You could be if you want. I mean, it helps my watch time. It helps, you know, you not skipping my ads. Don't skip my ads. Don't skip my ads now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I really need y'all to be in the mindset of I'm going to continue to learn. I'm going to continue to invest in myself. Even where I'm at now, as far as like some people look at me like, oh, you quoting the laws left and right. I still invest thousands of dollars into myself. It doesn't stop there, right? Me as a business owner, I know that I got to understand marketing as well. It doesn't necessarily just have to be credit. I got to understand different aspects of how to be like the best business owner in the world. So that's why I study that. Me having the best YouTube channel on the planet, I'm consistent, right? So it's not only just getting more education as far as the laws and everything, but it is about consistency as well. You definitely want to be consistent. You definitely want to be disciplined. When you don't feel like it, that's a discipline. Doing it when you feel like it, we're not impressed by that. You got to do it when you don't feel like it. When you do not feel like writing that letter, when you do not feel like reading those laws, when you don't feel like sending out your clients letters, when you don't feel like doing what you're supposed to be doing, but you do it, that's discipline. We respect that. If you just do it when you feel like it, we don't necessarily respect that. Like we could co-sign it a little bit. We could, you know what I'm saying, give you a little, not full head nod, but you know what I'm saying, like a little half head nod. But doing it when you don't feel like it, that's a discipline. And you're gonna need discipline because you're not gonna feel like doing it every day. That's why it's important to also set systems in place. I'm at the point of my business where, you know, we have systems in place, so I don't necessarily dispute, but I know the measures to take if we got to go to our next level, you know, litigation, all that. So keep that in mind. The real secret, the real gag, sometimes you just don't have to sue them to get the respect that you need. I need y'all to really be comfortable with that. If you're not comfortable with that, go hire you a consumer lawyer, right? Go get in a situation where they're going to act on your behalf and then they're going to get a percentage. You don't got to be fully greedy, especially if you don't know what you're doing, right? Especially if you don't know how to create a claim. If you don't have all the elements of a claim, you might as well like outsource it and don't be greedy. And sometimes too, this is one thing I wanted to speak about on a podcast. So sometimes I put this on my story as well, my IG story. So sometimes the win isn't necessarily monetary compensation. So I know we speak a lot about $1,000 per violation, all of that. Sometimes you got to look at it like, don't look at the front money, but the money you're gonna make on the back end. So I'm working with my client. We're in a situation where they don't want to offer monetary compensation. They're like, oh, we'll delete it. but we're not going to offer monetary compensation. It's one of those situations where, okay, we could continue pressing forward. Like, oh no, we going to get the monetary compensation. Or we could just make things move smoother. Just take the win that we got as far as them deleting the items, with the contract and all that. And then the fact that my client wants to get funding. So those of y'all that know about funding, that's a bag. I go get my client 100,000, 10% commission. That's 10 bands right there. So sometimes your win is gonna be in just getting those deletions and going to go leverage your credit how you want it to be, or leveraging your credit, leveraging your client's credit how they want it to be. So keep that in mind. Every situation, every case doesn't have to end in monetary compensation. I'm just here to say that anybody that's been through the process a number of times, they could probably feel what I'm saying. But I understand, like, if you just new to the process, you haven't done it before, you haven't been through a case. I understand how you could have that mindset of, oh, I gotta get the money, I gotta get the money, I gotta get the money. We gotta sit and think, like, what is credit? Credit is meant to be used, right? So you want to put yourself in a position to where you're using your credit. If we're like, okay, no, we're not gonna settle, we're gonna keep going with the court case and all that, right? All right, that's cool, but we wasting time because it's like it's gonna take time for the actual hearing date to happen. So it's like, okay, let's get this win right now. Let's go get the bag, leverage the credit the way we want to leverage it. At the end of the day, we just wanted a clean credit report. And that's pretty much what the client wanted as well. So you gotta keep that in mind. So I say that to say this is basically the secret on how to delete these items. So I think that's all I got for y'all. Hopefully y'all are really understanding the FCRA, because it's definitely gonna back you if you want to press towards going through litigation on your own. That's not legal advice. But with that being said, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Those of y'all that's on YouTube, if you're listening on the audio version, let me know how the quality is. I'm gonna play it back as well. If the quality ain't as good as we want it to be, then maybe we're gonna have to figure it out. Maybe we'll just go to audio. I don't know. Those of y'all that's on YouTube, comment below. Let me know if you want me to continue posting these podcast episodes on YouTube, or just keep the podcast audio and only bring the interviews here. Y'all let me know. I don't know what y'all want me to do. That's why I'm asking y'all. We're on the way to 5,000 subscribers. So I appreciate y'all. Continue listening, continue liking, continue commenting. Don't just be weird and watch my videos and not say nothing. You know what I'm saying? And keep me posted on y'all progress. I know that the funny thing is, credit is one of those things where people are so personal about it. So I know I'm changing a lot of y'all lives out there. You just not saying nothing. And for whatever reason, if it's ego, cool. If it's just one of those things where you just don't want to say, what's going on with you personally, cool. But I'm here to tell you, if you're one of those people, I appreciate the fact that I helped you change your life. You don't got to tell me. You don't got to confess to me, but I appreciate that, God used me to be able to change your life in a sense. So I'm honored for that. With that being said, y'all have a blessed one.